Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Court of Books and Booze, our basement book club. I am Skyler, better known as what, Jessica? Amanda? Nothing?
I don't know the answer to this. I only hear it
Sky.
every week.
The Skywalker. Come on.
You say so.
I am joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Miss Jessica Golden. Mrs. Jessica
Miss?
Golden. Miss.
Oh,
Yeah.
Still miss.
hey.
And our very best friend, Amanda.
Hello, hello.
And together we are going to summarize the current book we are reading. This might be part of a series or a standalone book. And then we're going to have discussion, theories, and boy, do I think I'm excited about the theory talk after this book.
You've been waiting for like a week on this.
Yeah, I read faster than everybody in this room apparently. So.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
We are currently reading the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. So we are on Heir of Fire. That's the one we just finished.
Yeah.
But before we dig into it, how you guys doing?
Oh, I'm ready.
I just want to talk.
Amanda, I guess, literally finished the book 20 minutes before we recorded this. So.
Yeah, head still reeling. Still processing.
It's a lot.
So, if I'm all over the place, then...
There was a lot going on
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
We talked about our oh shit moments with Crown of Midnight when I literally jumped off the couch and was yelling. I almost did it with this one too. I refrained because...
I did do it with this one. Oh my gosh, we'll get to that. Ugh.
Can we dive? Let's dive. Let's go.
All right. Well, in the typical order of our episodes, we will give you guys the summary, and then we will have our discussion about said book, and then we'll get into theories and all that fun stuff, and then we'll give a rating at the end. So, Jessica?
So the summary on this one's going to end up being a little longer. The way that that she wrote this book was in quite a few different viewpoints, more than usual, and it followed 3 different distinct regions. So to dive into it, following Chaol's suggestion to the king, Selena has departed to Wendlin to assassinate the royal family at the end of the last book. Yet at the beginning of Heir of Fire, instead of actually doing that, she's moping around the rooftops of Wendland, generally feeling very sorry for herself, stealing food, getting into fights, having no will to do really much of anything. That is until she is cornered by Rowan Whitethorn, a Fey prince with a huge brooding presence and no interest in pleasantries whatsoever. He came to take her to meet her aunt, the Fey Queen Maeve, who is the one person with the info about the word keys that may help her defeat the King of Adarlan. Maeve refuses to give Selena any answers until she can control her magic and entrusts the task of training her to Rowan. They stay in the demi-fae town of Mistward for her training, and his and Selena's personalities immediately clash. So then to shift viewpoints back in Adarlan, Dorian is struggling to control his magic and keep it hidden. He gets a new romantic interest, a castle healer named Sorsha. Chaol is trying to help Dorian with everything he's going through, but Chaol's struggling with even helping him, and he's kind of just lost right now. He's also trying to accept Selena's true identity, which he's very well aware of at this point, and he's also struggling with that. Which, at this point, is when we meet another new character, Adian Ashriver, a well-known army general and cousin to Aelin. He arrives in Rifthold at that point in time. Chaol tones the line, trying to find out whether Aedion is friend or foe, and quickly discovers that he is secretly loyal to Terrasen and is working with the rebels to free their country. Together, the group of rebels and Aedion and Chaol figure out that the king eliminated magic by using a spell with 3 towers in distant parts of the land, one of them being Rifthold's clock tower. They also discover that the king is breeding monsters on a remote island and plans to launch a surprise attack on Wendlin. In addition to Celaena and Rowan's storyline in Wendlin and Dorian and Chaol's storyline in Aderlin, we get a third point of view from another new character, Manon Blackbeak. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Mm-hmm. Manon? All right. We've been kind of going back and forth with that.
Yeah.
The scene in the last books with Baba Yellowlegs, turns out that's actually really important. We get to see the Iron Teeth Witches as they ally with the King of Aderlin and prepare for war. They will ride wyverns into battle for him. The clans are violent and competitive, barely holding themselves back from killing each other at any given moment. Manon and her grandmother... Manon upsets her grandmother and all of her expectations by choosing a very surprising wyvern who she named Abraxas. This wyvern was actually just meant for bait and not actually to be taken into battle. While Manon has been trained to have no conscience, during a competition, she ends up saving the life of a rival, which angers her grandmother, and at the end of the book, Manon seems to be questioning her upbringing and what she stands for. Back in Mistward, Rowan is a cold and brutal teacher using threats of violence to force Celaena to shift into her Fae form and bring forth her fire magic. At first, Celaena has no control, but eventually she learns to shift between her human and Fae forms and summon her magic at will. Celaena and Rowan eventually, surprisingly, become friends, and she helps him investigate some strange murders of demi-Fae that are going on in the area. They discover that the Valg are committing these murders. The Valg are a race of demon creatures from another world that originally forged the word keys. The Valg don't have bodies, so the king has been using demi-Fae as hosts to these creatures that he summoned by using the word keys. The Valg are the monsters that were being created on the island, and the king has snuck them and a bunch of soldiers into Wendlin to attack and capture the demi-Fae for experimentation. They end up heading directly toward Mistward. With the threat of attack, Rowan and Celaena prepare for battle, but the attack comes sooner than they expect. While Celaena battles 3 Valg princes, Rowan defends the rest of from the rest of the army. Even in her Fae form and using the strongest of her fire magic, Celaena is also almost defeated. That is until Rowan forms a blood bond with her that allows her to tap into his magic as well. Together they defeat the Valg, and after the battle they journey to Doranel to get the answers from Queen Maeve. Maeve holds up her end of the bargain and tells Celaena that the word keys can't be destroyed, only put back in the word gate. Maeve suspects Celaena has figured out where the 3rd word key is and begins whipping Rowan when she won't share the location. This obviously triggers Celaena, and she shows her incredible fire magic and bargains Maeve again for the release of Rowan from his eternal blood oath. He then immediately swears an oath to Celaena, and they leave Doranel. At this point, the news of Aelin Galathinius defeating the Valg and returning to the world has been traveling far and wide. Everyone is ecstatic except the king, who is absolutely raging at this point. The king summons Dorian, Sorsha, Chaol, and Aedion to the throne room to question them about a spy in the castle. Aedion tries to take the fall and is carted off to the dungeons to be executed soon thereafter. But then the king reveals the spy was actually Sorsha helping the rebels while still truly caring for Dorian. She is then executed in front of them, and Chaol and Dorian are stunned. Dorian ends up showing his magic, and the king is not super surprised and is happy to see it. Dorian and the king end up locked in a magic battle, which allows Chaol to escape. Dorian then ends up falling, and the king puts a black collar on him, appearing to now have Dorian under his control. The book ends with Celaena leaving Rowan and Wendelin as she sets off alone back to Adarlan to tie up loose ends with Chaol and find her old master, Erebin Hamel, who she believes has the third word key. She tells Rowan she will send for him when the time is right, and she is finally ready to fight for her throne in Terrasen.
Crushed it.
Killed it. Great job.
So,
It's hard to summarize, what is it, 800 pages, and
68 chapters. There's 68 chapters.
and you did it in 4.5 minutes. That's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this book.
Amanda's over there looking like she's about ready to cry.
I did cry.
I
I straight up cried. Not even kidding. 100% cried in this book.
Can I just start off by saying I think this is my favorite book so far in this series.
All
It
right.
is.
Hot,
And that's just me. That's just me.
here's my hot take. We'll just start with that. This book started extremely slow to me. You know, I understand that we're in the throes of introducing all these new characters and all of that fun stuff. But I didn't feel like until maybe the last 15 chapters that this book really picked up and I got out of it what I wanted. Not that I didn't enjoy the first half of the book. I mean, I didn't enjoy the relationship between Rowan and Celaena. I just thought typical fantasy big brother beatdown, you know, whatever.
Can I do my hot take?
Do
'Cause
it.
I feel like we're on a
Oh
very
my
similar
gosh.
pages. Sorry, Jess. Yeah, I thought honestly, I really enjoyed the book. Like the book was so good, and like it had me crying. It had me like doing those oh shit moments, but I felt like it was a very similar story to book one, where she's doing the training thing with someone that she's not necessarily getting along with. Dorian's in a relationship with someone he shouldn't be in a relationship with. You know, like it was very similar concepts with just different details here and there. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the story, because I did. But I was very much with you where I didn't really like start like getting completely invested to where I couldn't put it down until part 2. So, I mean, that's a little bit more than halfway, I think, but
I can totally see where you're coming from because I didn't have that perspective at all, but I can see it now that you say it.
yeah, because as soon as she met Maeve, and Maeve's like, no, I'm not going to tell you anything until you can show me that you've mastered this, and he's going to train you. I was like, oh, here we go. More training like she had with Chaol. Okay, we've been through this before. It was a little bit more intense, don't get me wrong. But, I don't know. It was just something that's like, okay, well, we've been in this situation.
Well, and I mean, it was really well broken up in this book because we had the additional stories of
Yeah.
Manon.
I really liked that aspect.
Sky didn't.
I liked the breakup, honestly, a little bit.
I enjoyed that it took us away from the training montage and kind of what was happening with Dorian and Chaol. I did not like the first half of her story. I loved the second half.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. I would have to agree. But I liked introducing a character of a different kind to show all the different people that are in the realm of this versus just, yeah, you have Fae and then you have people that are in Aurelia and there's maybe magic that we don't know a lot about right now, but it was a whole different side of things. And I really did. I ended up really liking her story. It was hard to get into, but yes, I ended up really liking it. So, especially, you know, with all the stuff like how competitive they were.
Oh,
Because I was just
gosh.
like, man, that's awesome. Yeah. You punch her in the face for saying that to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree about the Manon part where it was super slow to get into it. I wasn't a fan of her portion like at the very beginning, but ended up really getting into it by the end, liking her storyline. But I gotta say, I enjoyed this book from front to back for the most part, other than that little bit of the beginning of Manon's part. I don't know. I was just all for it. I liked seeing Selena separated from Dorian and Kaol and how they lived separated from each other because we've only seen them together in these first two books. They've only, been together at that
I
point.
liked her away from the romance stuff. I liked seeing her, having to go through like the grief stages of Nehemia. Like now she's
Yes.
having to like actually deal with that instead of just, swallowing it up and recognizing her feelings and how angry she is. And I liked that side of her versus just being enthralled with a boy,
Yeah.
because that's all it's been.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I enjoyed that part. Mm-hmm. Like, can I just say, I was suspicious of Sorsha from the very beginning.
Well, when Dorian walks into the study and she crumbled up the paper and threw it away, I was like, "Yep, she's working with Ren and Murtaugh."
Yep.
I knew it at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew who she was working with too.
I knew it was the
100
rebels.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't say I was 100% positive. I was like 95%.
Yeah, I was pretty sure she was with the rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then all that stuff came out at the end. I was like, called it.
Yeah.
Called. I'm not saying that I didn't like them together because she seemed really nice. Whatever. But I'm just saying, come in like super sweet like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think we all knew that was a short-lived storyline. Like,
Nope.
I think no.
Nope.
You didn't think so?
I totally thought that she was going to be like this big player character in the next couple of books.
See,
So that's why the end of the book threw me
oh,
for a loop.
wow.
I thought so. I didn't see that ending coming. Okay, so where it was just gonna be like, hack off, you're done, bye. I thought it was gonna be a situation to where she was gonna end things because she felt like he deserved to be with someone who was worthy of being queen. Because she had that whole moment where she's like, I'm gonna be selfish for a little while longer, for right now. But I thought that it was gonna end very similar to what Selena did to him, which I felt bad. I was like, man, dude, like, you're gonna be king one
for
day.
two.
Like, you can't be doing this, So I thought it was gonna end in a very similar situation, and it did not at all.
See, when I say short-lived, I don't mean her life.
Literally, her life was short-lived.
Her life was short-lived. I meant that, like, going into it, I assumed that, you could tell that Sorsha and Dorian were gonna end up being a thing, but I always assumed that it was gonna be something like a short-lived relationship. I didn't get the feeling that it was gonna be anything lengthy, but either way, regardless, it was beneficial to his character development.
That
Oh,
poor,
100%.
kid. The poor kid. I feel so
Oh my
bad
gosh.
for him. Like, gosh, I've like really grown to like him, and he
Yes.
just can't catch a break, man.
No, and we even get to see him as a kid too, and it
Yeah,
just as far
ugh.
back as that, he is just getting shafted. Like,
That flashback
Yeah.
killed me though.
oh
Yeah.
my
Because
gosh,
he's like such a proper etiquette,
proper little boy.
and he's just being ignored. And Selena's like, "Will you be my friend?"
You can just picture, like
Yeah.
it just going just like that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed getting to finally get a nearly full picture of her background.
And I liked seeing how that night progressed from
Yeah.
beginning to the very end, like her ending up in the river.
I gotta say that when she mentions at one point of, her parents' deaths not being like even her main thing that she can't get through about that
Right.
night. I think that was kind of anticlimactic to me. Like I didn't expect it just didn't seem like a big wow moment because it was her nanny that sacrificed herself. I mean, yeah, obviously that's a big thing, but it seemed like she was like, "Oh, I can't even fathom, dipping into this memory to handle it. My parents' deaths are one thing, but this is something like super major." And then it was just that. I don't know.
I,
See, that's interesting because that's the part that made me cry.
I was gonna say I think I disagree with you here. I think in the context of the story, you know, Aylin, I'll call her Aylin at this point because at that point in the story that's her name. Doesn't have anybody. She had her parents, she had Adian, she had the nanny. What was her name? Oh no, I don't remember.
Lady
Wow,
something.
you guys.
It starts with an M. Monier? Something like Monier?
Nope,
That's
that's our
Craig.
friend Craig.
What?
Craig
no,
Monier.
no. It's like Manier, something like that.
What was the name, Jessica?
I don't know.
Okay. But in the context of the story itself, this is the person that she's closest to in the world.
Yeah.
And now she's sacrificed herself. And so I totally get it. I mean, I get why she wouldn't want to dredge up that memory. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can also get where it is an extra twist in the gut because it's fairly similar to Nehemia and what she did, the sacrifice of yourself for Selena and the greater good. So, I mean, I can see why that also makes it, like, extra heartbreaking. But I don't know. I guess I just didn't have the same reaction.
Yeah, I think for me it was just the detail of just describing, this woman put up the ultimate sacrifice, sacrificed her husband, sacrificed a life of watching her child grow up to save her, knowing her parents were dead and she was the last legacy to their kingdom, essentially, knowing what was coming, and that was the only way to save her. And I think it was very similar to what Nehemia did, to where she's,
Yeah.
like, this is bigger than just me, and you're it, And it was really the part I think where she's like, she gave up a life with her husband, a life for her daughter. Where I was just
Yeah.
like, oh man. And then to see later that Kale, who's been on the fence the entire time about this entire book of where he stands, because Selena, who he loves, is off doing who knows what because he has no idea, but he knows who she is and that she's the heir to this, this country that's known for magic and who's supposed to be his enemy, but then is also trying to help Dorian, who has magic, but is trying to be loyal to the king. It's just so literally like on the fence about everything. And then at the end when he's like, no, like, you're not my king. Dorian is my king. Like, it's literally, to me, those situations mirror each other almost. Like, I will do whatever I can for him because that's who I want to be my king. That's who I want to rule. They were big moments. And so I had that moment with Selena, like, going through her past, and then all of a sudden, like, a couple chapters later, Kale's doing a very similar thing with Dorian and showing his loyalty to him. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is happening to me? My heartstrings can't take it. I'm about to cry right now.
I
just
know.
finished it a half hour ago. I can't.
I had that moment when Kale went and was talking to Dorian, and Dorian kind of like shuts him down a little bit and just says whatever he has to say and then walks away, and Kale just like ends it with, that wasn't just Dorian, that wasn't a prince, that was a king talking
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
And I was just like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
The character progression is just so good. Like, the development is just so good.
My heart.
And gosh, because they ended it on like such a note where I'm just like, okay, so what happens? Like,
Right?
Adian's in the dungeon now because he stood up to him. The king knows Dorian has magic, and now he's under his power. Kael fled and now is with Ren and has to find Selena to tell her what happened. Is like, hey,
And
don't go
Fleetfoot.
to the castle maybe because all this crap is going on. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like it's so much suspense, and she has no idea what's happening.
No, she's coming back to face Arabin, and I'm like, I need to know what's gonna go on there.
I know.
I need to know what's going on there.
I want more of that story.
Oh yeah.
That's probably a good point to interject that we're not reading it in release order. We're reading it in the romantic order.
Yeah.
So after Heir of Fire in the romantic order is the prequel, which is Assassin's Blade. So we're about to really get into this backstory of Selena and Arabin, and I just figured that would be a good point to throw that in. So
Yeah.
But it just left on such a cliffhanger, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like all this stuff just happened, and then here's Selena just thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to the castle, I'm gonna find that word key, I'm gonna figure out what's going on with Arabin, and I was just like, honey,
I'm gonna tie things up with Kael.
I was like, you have no idea what you're walking into because it's a shit show back there right now. Like, nothing is how you left it.
I mean, girl just defeated the Vogue. I think she can handle.
Because she bows to no one. Okay? I literally snapped my fingers. I was like, yep, for sure.
I don't know. I mean, you're talking about a continent where she doesn't have her magic. She can't.
True.
She can't transform into the Fae form. Mm-hmm. I mean, the story's going to take a big turn in the next book, and
which. Go ahead.
That might be a big reason why, is because all this training she just did through Heir of Fire now doesn't mean
jack shit.
Right.
Facts.
And we have to wait a whole book to find out what happens next because we're reading the prequel.
Well, and I'm thinking, that's true. And I'm thinking, so when we get to that part to where she finally, like, comes and faces Arabin, for whatever that case, whatever happens, right? She does have this tendency to where she talks herself up, she, like, gets all hype about herself, and then she has a real low moment. And then all of a sudden she's right back up there again, and she's like, you know what? No one can touch me. I need to remember who I am. But it's very like up and down, and now she's about to go confront the man that raised her to be the person that she is now for what, 10 years
after just being on a big high. So.
Right. So I don't know, and I think the same thing is going to happen to the King of Otterland because he's the one that literally took everything away from her. She doesn't tend to do so great when she acts out of anger half the time. So I don't know. I'm very nervous. It's like watching a sporting event. I'm not sure.
So I will throw out there that my favorite duo in this book are Abraxas and Manon.
Really?
Yep.
I thought you were going to say Emrys and his mate or something like that.
Well, I love those guys too. They were very, very well written.
Yeah.
But the second that she chose Abraxas as her wyvern or mount, I just fell in love with that story right at that point. I was like, yeah, this is where it becomes worth it.
Yeah, I agree. That was such a cool interaction.
Reading about the discipline of her and the 13, and then reading about them eventually flying together and like their formations, and I'm just like, oh, this is so cool. You guys finally got it. Even though they eat people.
Ikra's a bitch. I don't like her.
Yeah, no.
Nope, not a fan. She's nasty. I mean, they're all like pretty mean to each other, but it's like, man, she just went above and beyond, didn't she? Mm-hmm. Like, especially when she took the whip.
Oh my
to
gosh.
Abraxas, I was just like, how bold are you? Like, come on, you knew that wasn't going to end well. She did that to get under her skin.
No, totally.
She's the yellow legs.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Iskra?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That makes me even more glad that they killed Baba Yellowlegs in the second book.
Yeah. But I was like, man, I hope that was worth the lashing you got after that for stirring the pot.
Yeah, I am curious to see now, having liked that storyline, where it ends up going and how they end up fitting in with the rest of the stories. I'm sure it won't be good.
We'll get into that in the theory section.
Yeah.
Because I got a theory.
I know you do. I know you do.
It was just so good. I loved how everything ended because nothing was happy. I loved it.
I'm curious to see how the Blackbeak and is it Blue Blood?
Blue blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, clan dynamics progress when, with the Blackbeak saving the Blue Blood, and then, the Blue Blood sharing proper food with the Blackbeak Wyvern. Just the back and forth there has been begrudgingly good.
That brings up I think a really interesting talking point too, is the fact that, while we're training with the 13, Manon catches on to it slowly throughout the chapters that were theirs, that there's something wrong with the main overseer and the food that they're getting.
There's something wrong with the blood, with everybody's blood.
Not everybody's, because at one point didn't she say that she tasted one of just the regular soldier's blood, and it tasted fine? Do you guys recall that? It was the overseer, and then the goats, or the regular food they were eating.
Yeah.
But doesn't she and the rest of the Iron Teeth, none of them notice it, but Abraxas does.
No, Manon definitely noticed it, and
she
then
kept saying it tasted weird.
Right.
Yeah, something.
But
like
it was after she'd chosen Abraxas as her mount.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what that all means.
Well, and then that's when we get into the blue bloods, not the matron, the second,
Petra,
giving Abraxas the regular meat too, which was
I thought was meat.
Right. I thought it was just kind of odd, because I think even in that chapter she said something about it, right? She's like, "Yeah, everything tastes a little weird around here." Did I make all that up in my head? I might have.
I don't know. You read it so long ago.
It's
Maybe you're not remembering.
It's been a hot minute. It's been just under a week.
Yeah.
I think I finished it off Sunday.
Yeah, how do you remember anything? You read it so long ago. You've been waiting so long for this.
I have.
That's what I keep hearing. I'm just
telling you, we need a schedule.
Oh, and then he told me at one point, he's like, "You can't read the last 3 chapters until I'm in the room with you so I can watch you."
Yeah, but my timeline was a little off because I forgot everything with Sorcha happened before the last 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Literally, when they said that everyone was summoned to the King's Chamber, I was just like, fuck. Everything is going to happen. Like, everyone's going to die. Oh, I was so stressed. I literally was pacing and reading back and forth in the living room.
I was pacing and reading also.
I can't.
Yeah, I was just walking around the house with my face in my phone reading it.
I couldn't. Seriously, the last 15 chapters, I could not put this book down.
They were good, yeah.
It was just incredible. Everything with Mistward and the battle.
Oh my god.
With the flag, and then Selena and Maeve, and Kaol and the King. It just, it blew my mind, and it was tough to put down.
Yeah. She's really good at making allies with a bunch of different people, no matter where she's at. And I think that's all going to really come back and help her at the end when shit hits the fan, you know?
Inevitably.
Yeah. So theories.
All right, you guys ready to talk some theories, huh? Jess, you said everything you want to say?
Can I just say that as soon as they started talking about there being slim possibilities among Fae of that condomum,
Yeah.
that blood bond, I was like, I know it. I know that they're gonna do that.
Yeah, and it was disgusting.
What do you mean it was disgusting?
I'm gonna cut my palm, and you're gonna cut yours, and we're gonna join them together. Ew, no.
I loved
No,
it.
disease.
I
That's
loved
what that
it.
sounds
Oh
like.
my gosh.
I think it just means they have the same blood type. So that's how that works.
You guys are crushing all my happiness of this book. It's
like
my
a blood
favorite
transfusion.
One, so... I can't stand you.
I'm right there with you. Out of the
I agree. I
the
think it's
three,
my favorite.
This is my favorite so far. But I'm super
Yeah, you guys
excited.
have like slammed it.
We gotta play devil's advocate. I mean,
I'm glad I'm not the only one who's slamming it, to be honest. I thought I was going to catch a lot of flack in this room tonight.
no, I'm not. I say because of like, similar situations to book one and blah 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 things we have said. I don't think I'm gonna give it as high a rating, but it is my favorite of the three we've read thus far.
Should probably be keeping track of what we rate these books.
I've been thinking that all day. I was like, man, I cannot remember what I rated Crown of
Your
Midnight.
first one was really low. That's
Yeah,
all
It
I
was. It
remember.
was like a 2.2,
It was
I
a
think.
2.2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I took Crown of Midnight up to over a 3.
Yeah. I think you did. It was like a 3.4 or
Guys,
something like that.
I think that eventually Kale is gonna die.
I totally agree.
I think it's gonna be another Sam situation for her, or he's gonna sacrifice himself for Selena.
Right there with you.
Not necessarily Aelin.
Well, good. Be
but because
useful.
Makes me feel bad. 'Cause
I
I
if
really
that-
like him.
If that happens, I would definitely feel bad. I am. My feelings toward Kale are like they're in waves. Like where I've been a fan of his character and then not, and like I was a fan of his character in book 1, and then book 2 I just could not stand him at all. And now in book 3, like he's starting to redeem himself in my brain. It's just like
I constantly think about the scene where Selena made him that dinner.
oh,
I constantly think about that scene because I just thought it was so cute. I was like, oh,
you know,
breaking the ice.
my
breaking
favorite
the
food.
ice. Like, it was so cute. But he was there in this book, but because he was so back and forth, he was just kind of like he was a character that I felt like had to be there because he's been there since the beginning. Until the end when he was like, no. Actually, no. I'm going to break away from what I've been taught my entire life, and I'm going to decide who I want to follow.
Finally.
And that's not you.
He is my least favorite character. Just 100% as of right now. I just do not care for Kale. The end of the book shined a little bit of a light on him, but we're 3 books in. I'm sick and tired of hearing the whiny, oh, but I'm captain of the guard, but I love Selena. Captain of the guard takes priority. That douche is
it's
the
like just
reason
pick.
Nehemia died, and she could have been great in these books.
First of all, you're just upset because she
Yeah.
was your favorite character.
She was. I really like Nehemia.
And that was not his fault.
Yeah. No, gotta say that was not
That
his
was
fault.
her fault. She actually orchestrated it
Yes.
herself.
It doesn't.
So it was literally her fault.
He still knew. He could have said something to Selena. I'm just saying, guys.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just not a fan of
I want
the
more
character.
development out of him. I feel like it's been very slow, but everyone else is progressing a lot, and I just feel like he's not.
Yeah.
I did feel bad though when he made the comment in the when it switched to his perspective about how he knew that Selena would choose him, but Aelin wouldn't. I was like, yeah, that's kind of what happens with Dorian. Like everywhere you turn, he goes for someone that he can't be with. And he has to be the crown prince because his brother's going to do a crap job. He knows
Oh,
that,
gosh.
so he can't leave. But I really do think that he's going to die at some point for her.
I hope
Yeah.
we never see Holland on the throne.
I think at this point it might be closer than you think.
Oh gosh.
I like the end of the book where he finally stood up for Dorian. I liked the point in the book where he was talking to Sorsha and he's like, a healer for a queen would be really nice.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he's finally starting to get to this point where I'm like, okay,
He's thawing.
right. But I would really have liked to see him go back to Aniel and just that interaction with his mother and his brother. And
Oh, it could still be coming.
I don't know. He's on the run.
So I don't think he can go back.
I think his family's dead.
We're gonna get
Oh no.
answers.
Yeah. You didn't think about that, huh?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I think.
But that's probably really likely.
That is probably really likely, especially with how his dad, how they're both like, his mother would really miss him, but he hasn't heard from her. But you and your theories.
Yep, I'm pretty sure Aniel is about
she
to
wrote
burn
him
to the
that
ground.
letter, but he didn't read it.
It's going to be one of his
Do you
biggest
remember
regrets
that?
in
Yeah,
his short life
Because
coming.
he's like, I don't care what she has to say, and his dad was like, I'm gonna tell her you said that.
And then he took the letter back. Yeah.
Oh,
Can I just say that she wrote Adian really well at the beginning when she first introduced him.
Adian?
Yeah. Because it obviously was is he loyal to the king or is he loyal to Terrasen? That obviously was the which way is it gonna go sort
He's
of
also
thing.
Dorian's cousin, right? Or no? He's just part of the court.
He's just part of the court.
Okay.
He's
He's
just the
cousin
general.
to the kingdom of Wendellin's family.
Yeah.
The
Okay, that's where I'm getting that from. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I gotta say, when I was first guessing, I guessed wrong. I guessed that he was gonna be, like, traitor to Terrasen. And I'm really glad that I was wrong about that.
No, I did not like him at the beginning.
No, not at
I
all.
thought he was a tool.
And I think, like, you're supposed to feel that way.
I think he played that
was-
part really well, because
Yeah.
he continued to do that even after we knew what he was really fighting for.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he sat there and said that, thank you for killing my people. I cried at that part too. When all that came out that they killed all those slaves.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
I cried during that too.
Especially because it was right after she opened up and told Rowan that she just wanted to go free everybody. And then that happens right after.
Of course it did. Of course it did.
That made me cry.
Hey, Sarah J. Maas doesn't pull punches. I mean,
Gosh.
she definitely knows how to make people feel a certain way.
For real.
Bitch.
Are we calling
No, I
Sarah
like her.
bitch now? Because I thought we were just calling Caltane bitch.
Yeah, I wonder how she's doing.
But I bet not so well.
Married, probably. Definitely.
Yeah, we only had 2 mentions of her and Roland. Is it Roland? Was that the cousin's name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did he go with him?
Yeah.
To to Morvath? Morvath?
Morvath. Yep. More bath.
Which I thought that was interesting when he made that connection with the triangle between the 3 towers.
Yes. Which is going to be the first one to fall.
Who's going to do it?
How's it going to happen? One of them's going to fall. It's going to happen.
It's probably going to be fire.
Or will it be ice?
We got both.
I'm surprised Kane didn't break the one with Selena's face in the first book.
Joke.
Oh, so your theory, because you're just chomping at the bit to
Yeah.
get
Oh,
your
I'm
theories
actually super proud of the Chaos family's dead theory now because neither of you thought about
I
that.
never thought about that.
That was my first thought after that whole section. Manon is not going to stay working for the king. She's going to swap sides and be
Oh, for
Selena's.
sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
I agree.
Okay.
Especially, yeah, with her slow change of lack of heart. Saying that they don't have a heart. By the end of it, yeah, totally.
I agree.
Totally.
That's the one I've been stewing on a lot because it's like I was jumping back and forth this whole book on it. Like I feel like she's gonna be Aelin's, general, but at the same time, we don't know what the king has done to these wyverns as they're being raised, and maybe Abraxas is different because he was a bait beast, but
A bait BB.
a bait BB.
Well, and I feel like the king has an issue with this because he can't just kill all these people and expect the leaders of those people to be loyal to him. I mean, that's only going to last for so long.
Well, when you rule through fear, who's to say that it
but I'm
doesn't
saying
work
that
way?
like the more that come together and stand up, then you got another one, then you got another one, then you got another one, and then you got Selena who's leading the charge, dude. She's gonna hop ship for sure.
I will say that another one of my favorite things in this book was when Murtagh came back and he's like, "She's alive,"
Yeah.
and then immediately rides off to go tell the whole
Everyone.
country. I was like, man, that's so cool. And then they just kind of you glimpse into the future a little bit of him traveling and just word spreading. But
I'm really curious because, like, what's going to happen with that mysterious red queen of the wastes, like red-haired queen of the wastes that has the Iron Teeth area now?
Oh yeah.
Because that's all they've said, this red-haired queen in the wastes. We haven't really heard anything else about that. So, I mean, obviously something's going to go on there. I think that you're right. Manon is going to, flip or, flip sides or something of that sort. She's not going to stay loyal to her grandmother.
She's already butting heads with her.
Yeah.
Left and right.
Yeah. So her and the 13 are going to be flipping sides of some sort. And so what is she going to end up overall queen of the Iron Teeth?
There's a lot of tests of loyalty in this book because even her second, that whole interaction when she's like, I am loyal to you. I serve you. And she's like, not my grandmother? No, I serve you.
Yeah. Yep. Love
A
that.
lot of that.
Loved
a lot of
that.
So you're really seeing like who's following who here. So
well, and I think we see that with the Blue Bloods though too. That they're like, hey, there's something to this
Caring.
witch. But we know the Blue Bloods aren't as vicious per se as the other two clans.
yeah.
They only like to eat young, healthy people, not just anybody. And they worship some giant 3-headed spider.
Yeah, so weird.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I don't know. I'm wondering if the king is ever going to put together like who Selena is, considering now that we know like he was there the night that all that crap happened and was like
He's been
put
in her
that
head.
little worm in her. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows. There's no way he doesn't.
I think it's
he's
going to
known
come
since
out
the
that
first book.
well, same with how he knew that Dorian had magic. He's like, yeah, I suspected that you had it. It's like, okay, so you know more than you're letting on. Like, regardless of how many spies you have, like, I think that he knows a lot more than. But granted, we haven't seen much of like, we don't ever see his side of view of things. So.
Either he knows or he's going to know very soon. I
just feel like so much happens with him that like we don't know until it's already done. Like when he killed all the slaves, like because he doesn't tell his guards about any of this stuff until it's like, oh yeah, like that problem's taken care of. We killed them all.
like.
And then you're just like, what?
I want to say like, yeah, he knows about Aelin because signs would point to that, from the past. But then I also want to say, no, he's got no idea that that's actually who she is, because why would he have let any of this in current times go on as it has when he has no, when knowing who she is and that he has no control over her?
Maybe it's one of those keep your friends close but your enemies closer type things. I don't know.
I think he's known since he locked her away in Dovier.
And maybe he wants to put that little collar thing on her.
Yeah, I mean,
Why
she
would he
is.
have waited so long though?
She is a Ash Reaver, an Ash River, and a
Galathinian.
Galathadian.
Galathinius.
Phineas, yeah.
Phineas.
Yeah. So I mean, she's the perfect tool to be used in the future.
Maybe he's waiting for her to figure out where the word keys are.
Well, and that could very well be
Because
he
one of
needs
them
a
is...
third one.
Yeah.
I just want to know more about this whole Arabin story.
So she thinks that he has it, right? Her
She
amulet?
knows that he
She
has
knows that
So
he
he took it from her when
Yeah.
he pulled her out of the river, right?
But
That
does
was
he
the
know
story?
what it means? Does he know what it is?
Yeah, I think he would have done more with it if he did.
Yeah, because she had the realization that in order for her to survive the freezing water, that her
that
amulet
plunge.
had to
Yeah.
have been protecting her,
Yep.
and then everything goes to hell when when it's gone and he takes it. So
Wonder if that and like the Eye of Elena together, like the two amulets,
Oh my goodness.
like her and Kale together.
they're Casablancas or whatever.
Yeah,
I hate you guys.
same blood type.
Just let me like things.
Did you say like Casablanca?
I did, yeah.
It's a whole black and white moment.
Oh, at the very end, and this has nothing to do with anything we were just saying. I was thinking about jewelry and, like, you know, whatever, swords are part of jewelry in books like this. And how Kale grabbed Damaris.
Yeah.
That was exciting.
I was sad at the chapter that he threw his other sword in the.
Oh,
in the-
yeah.
Yeah.
The teeny tiny chapter, like chapter 67, I think it was.
Yeah.
The second
it's
to
literally
last
half
chapter.
a page.
It's just
This fisherman
him in
found
a
this one.
hood, throwing his old sword in the bay, and that was that.
What can you do?
What can you do?
Was that the sword that the king had given him though?
Yeah, that was his captain of the guard sword.
Symbolism. Okay. We're done with that part of our life.
Well, he's gonna wish he would have kept it when he
Was
goes
that-
up to Aniel and burned to the ground.
Is that the sword of Corinth? Is that what it is?
No,
that's
that's
Adian's.
that's Adian's sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Selena's sword
Selena's sword.
or Aelin's sword.
Whatever.
So many names.
I really hope that he gets to see her. That's all he's talked about this entire book.
I hope he gets to join her. Like, I hope he
I
gets
know,
to just end up
but
being
he's been
part of the
talking
court
about it
and-
so much. I was like, all he wants to do
Stop.
is see her.
Stop it.
It's not gonna happen.
Stop it.
She's gonna stroll back into the castle. The king's gonna have him on the execution block. We're gonna, and you guys won't understand this reference. We're gonna One Piece Mary Joe. This
Yeah, I was
whole
thinking
arc.
Ned Stark. Put his head on a spike.
Yep. But she will be in the crowd when he dies. He might look up and see her, but
And that'll be his one time that
Yeah.
he sees her.
she's standing right there.
The drama. Why are we not writing a movie or something?
I can't.
I figure if this
can't
keeps
do
going well
this.
enough, we'll eventually just write our own book.
Right.
Oh, God. I cannot do a chapter if it's like that, and I could totally see it being like that.
I could see it. Yeah, just totally gruesome.
Kale can die. Just let Adian join his queen.
No, he's got to be the king, right?
God, weird.
That would be weird.
It's like medieval times, guys.
It's still weird. Still
all
weird.
royal people are interrelated.
Nope,
and-
don't like it. Not everybody is.
We're in the middle of watching House of the Dragon right now.
Yeah.
And there's all that going on left and right.
I still
Like
haven't finished Game of
stepdad
Thrones.
is also the uncle, but is also stepmom's brother. I don't know. It's weird. It's
Not
weird.
everybody's a Lannister.
But they do it to keep the bloodline pure.
Right.
Anyway,
I still haven't finished Game of Thrones, so we haven't
Yeah.
started House of Dragon yet.
Yeah.
it's a lot slower. There's not as much action as there is in Game of
I
Thrones.
really
but
want
it's
to
really
watch
good.
it.
It's very good.
I haven't watched Rings of Power yet either.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched that either. I heard that's fantastic.
I haven't watched Andor yet either.
We're
I'm way
getting
behind.
off topic. All the shows we haven't seen. All the books we haven't read.
Oh, I'm sure one day we'll have a filler episode where we just chit chat about all the random stuff. Anyway, I think Kale's gonna die. I think Adian's gonna die.
When? When do you think he's going to die? Because we are through 3 books, and there are 5 left. Obviously,
Kale?
it's not going to happen in the next
I
book because that's the prequel, but you
I
go.
think
So,
Kale
4
will
books
die at
after
the end of
that.
the series.
8 books, yes?
8 books. One of them a prequel.
I think Kale will die in book 7 or 8.
I agree. I think I'll finally start to like him, and that's when they'll kill him.
I just want to say that of this series, I'm pretty sure I have seen 2 spoilers.
We don't want to hear.
I'm
him.
not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
This is why we ruin things for you. Because you look at spoilers.
No, I don't. I try so hard not to. I try so hard not to.
You tell her to stay off TikTok and just read the books. And
Book talk be getting me sometimes. Anytime I see something on Throne of Glass, I immediately scroll past.
Scroll.
But twice now I've been caught off guard. And I don't know if what I have
Nope.
seen is actuality or not. And so I'll find
It's
out.
probably not.
We'll find out. Oh, I'm pretty sure it is.
Probably not.
We'll see. We'll see. And when if
Yeah,
it
you
does
can
or
tell
doesn't
us.
happen, I will tell you.
Yeah.
So.
Ratings?
I have a pretty strong feeling that Dorian's gonna die too.
No.
I
Stop.
do.
No, because
God,
I need
who isn't gonna die?
I need him
We're gonna
to
Game
be
of Thrones this bad boy, guys.
No, I
haven't even
need
finished
him.
that.
I need him to be the king that country deserves. I need him Nope.
The only way he's gonna be king is if he hooks up with Aelin, because she is going
or
to
if
be
he kills his dad.
queen of the continent.
I feel like
Well,
they would
but there
work
are-
together.
There are smaller like kings and queens.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be.
There are lords and ladies.
I don't think it's gonna be like him taking over everything like his dad is trying to do, though. I think it's gonna be the two of them working together and like bringing back up kingdoms that are already there.
Because keep in mind, Terrasen was its own country,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, and then
Its own.
Realm.
Realm.
Adarlan was its own country, and he
Yeah.
went and took him over.
Yeah.
So there aren't any additional kings and queens in Adarlan.
I just mean in the world in general.
I think she's gonna come through. She's gonna wreck face.
Well, I don't think that he wants to be the conqueror of Aurelia, which is what his dad is trying to do.
Kick ass, take names.
Yeah, exactly.
Chew bubble gum, all out of bubble gum.
But I don't think she would do that once the king is dead with Dorian. I don't think she would be like, oh, nope, here I am. Now I'm the conqueror of Aurelia. Here I am. I think that they would bring back other countries and they would be civil.
I don't think she wants to be the conqueror of Aurelia. I think everybody's just gonna be like,
She saved
here's
us.
our queen.
Yeah, she saved us.
This is it. I mean, there's no point in us not being under her.
So I love how we've gone into like predictions for the series and not like predictions for the next book.
See,
We're going to get backstory. We already know that.
yeah, and then the Assassin's Blade, I think, is just another training montage.
See?
Shut up.
That's all we do is training.
What did you guys expect out of like high fantasy warrior style things where the very first sentence is something about her being an assassin? You really think there's not going to be a
But all
lot
we have
of
to. I thought that we were going to do
battle
more than
and
have to
training?
train for a couple months to get frickin' information. From our aunt, by the way.
Queen Maeve. See, there are other queens and kings.
She's a bitch, too.
God, she's a bitch.
But
God.
listen, she's not a queen in Adderley. She's a queen of her own.
I understand. Of Dornell, yes.
Isn't she
Well,
like a
Nobody
knight?
is going to want Dorian to be king other than Kael by the end of the series because his name is Villiard.
Unless Dorian's fighting under Selena.
But then the only way for him to be king is to marry Selena.
No, it's not.
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
I disagree with you on this one.
did anybody get a little bit confused in the Maeve, Mab, Moore storylines?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I
The
think I
Fae
understood
Queen
it.
sisters
Ma-
and
So
how their lineage goes. I got a little confused with the lineage and who
yeah, I didn't
goes
really
where
understand.
from
I didn't really
those.
understand that.
I need a family tree.
all I got was that something happened with Maeve and like Aylin's mom owing her something, but like keeping her away from her. So Maeve was trying to find, you know what I'm saying, trying to find her for all this
Right.
time.
So
I don't remember what happened though.
So was Mab Evelyn's mom? Which was Selena's mom?
No. Because in book 2, when Selena tells Kael that she's part Fae, she says, like, my great-great-grandmother or something was Fae.
So
was
was
she talking about Mab?
Yeah, I would
yeah.
assume so.
So
Because she
so,
said she had like a small portion of Mab in her.
So Mab was like
Because she had more of her dad.
maybe great great grandmother.
But her dad's... Right, great-great-grandmother. But her dad's line is Fae too, right?
Yeah, because she said at the end that she had more of Brandon in her than she did of Mab.
And that's why she's so prevalent with fire magic.
Yeah, because that's all Brandon.
Right.
But then Mab turns into a goddess.
She gave up her
Fae.
from her Fae
her
so she
magic.
could die with her lover, and then the world turned her into a goddess.
Deanna?
Yes.
Yes. Goddess of the hunt.
The hunt, yep.
You get into some weird
That
Fantasy.
fantasy.
threw me
Yeah,
a little bit
this is
because
just like
it
a
just-
huge fantasy trope, I think.
Well,
What did you expect with fantasy, assassin?
I enjoy it. I just shut up. I just wanted to be able to follow it a little better, and I think everything was so briefly touched on and
Yeah.
briefly just said, you know, her from here and her from here and them to there and this to there. There wasn't like a whole lot of explanation, so I got kind of lost in the mix about whose lineage was who,
It was
however
all
removed, and
Yeah.
and what then subsequently happened to them.
You know, towards the end when they were talking about how there's, you know, the war was coming, like they were sending people over and they were like prepping and, you know, how they're gonna, you know, stand against the king and whatever his magic was gonna be. I literally looked to the map at the beginning and I was like, there's no map past Aurelia.
Yep.
Like, damn it.
Yeah.
Because that would have been nice if they included a family tree for that too.
Right? I'm gonna have to look it up. Someone's
You
made-
might want to just wait.
You know what? Never mind. You're right.
Yeah.
Anytime we're like, I want to see exactly what that person looks like. We should look them up, and then we're like, no, we can't look them up. We don't know enough yet.
Yeah.
Too much can
We'll
be
just
happening.
make a list and then we look it all up at the end and that's its
Yes.
own episode.
Yeah, we just have a full episode of Throne of Glass
It's like,
lore.
that's
and-
not what I pictured at all.
Throne a glass, WTFs.
All right, guys. So let's get into our ratings, unless there's anything else you want to add.
I'm good.
No, I am good.
All right.
Well, most recently read.
I want you to go first because you like this more than we did.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Dang. You're not leaving
Shoot.
much room for this
Shoot.
series to grow, girl.
I I don't want to just shoot low because I think it can improve. I can rate 2 of the books 4.5 if I think they're both, the same.
Well,
I don't have
5
to
books, 5 stars.
I don't have to rate each book separately from, like based on the one before it or whatever. I can just base it as it is, as its own book. 4.5, I stand.
I like it. Amanda?
3.7.
Justification?
Everything I said before.
I like it. I'm at 3.7 as well. I liked it. I enjoyed the read very much. Like I said, the first half of it was just a little slow for me.
She's so mad.
It was,
I just think you guys teaming up on me with this book is ridiculous.
I find it interesting that we had the same perspective.
I don't find that interesting whatsoever. You guys are the same person.
she's not
That's
wrong.
true.
I enjoyed the book. It was very good. It was, especially the end of it. I mean, I could rate it higher, but the first half of it just was a little too slow for me. So, 3.7. Sorry, my ring's bouncing off my beer can.
Jeez.
Sweet.
Books and booze. Gotta have those booze.
Hey, I'm drinking Bud Light, so
Seagrams.
Twisted tea.
that's what she's gonna be drinking every episode.
Yeah,
If
why
Jess
haven't we
isn't
been
mixing
sharing
things
this
for her.
so far? We should be sharing what we're
Yeah.
drinking.
We did at the end of the last 2 episodes.
Well,
Did
whatever.
we? Oh,
Yep.
yeah, because we were...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Yep.
Yep. If you want to know what we're talking about, listen to the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you're listening to our episode about Heir of Fire, you've read the first 2 books.
Yes, please read with us. Join us for the next book that we're reading, which is The Assassin's Blade. The prequel to the Throne of Glass series.
Book 4.
In our reading order.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm excited.
Do you want to... So, as we're going through this, Jess has decided that we are all doing the tandem read for...
We're all doing the tandem read?
Well, it's going to be one
She straight
episode
up
on 2
said,
books.
just so you know, I'm doing the tandem read.
No, she decided today that I'm doing the tandem read, so I decided that you're doing the tandem read.
Meaning what? We read the last 2 books at the same time?
It's not the last 2 books, it's the second to last 2 books.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so books 6 and
So-
7.
Yes. Okay, so
Guys, I finished this 20 minutes before we started, okay? You want me to read 2 at once?
the order we are reading this series in is Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Queen of Shadows. Nope, sorry, I looked at the words wrong. Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Assassin's Blade, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and then Kingdom of Ash.
So, Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn are the tandem read books. Because they take
Yes.
place at the exact same time.
So what, you read chapter 1 of one book and then chapter 1 of the other book?
There is a guide to what order you read what chapters in which book.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to need a printout.
Oh, I am, of course, going to have to print it
Gosh.
out. I think this is one of the neatest things that I have seen in a book series is having the option to read 2 books at the same time because they're... I believe these 2 books, Empire of Shadows Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, they're in different parts of the world, occurring at the same time.
Okay.
So, from what I have read, Empire of Storms, which if you were just reading it chronologically, or by publication date, you would read Empire of Storms and then Tower of Dawn. But Empire of Storms, I have read, ends on a cliffhanger. So, you would be going through then another chunk of a book that is going to go back in time and be
Right.
at the same time as that. and have to wait on whatever cliffhanger that ends up being. That's not a spoiler that I know.
I don't know how I'm going to do it because we bought the compendium. So we have all the books in one on Kindle. So switching back and forth between the books is just going to be insane. And carrying around two huge books, by the way. They are thick books.
Thick boys.
You're going to be wearing a backpack a lot for a couple weeks carrying those 2 books, and I'm going to read it digitally.
I think I can binge 2 books faster than I can tandem read them.
If I have a guide,
You don't have to tandem read.
If I have a guide, I'll be fine.
I'm
It'll
really
be
excited.
interesting.
I'm excited for that, just to see how it goes. Because I've not any
I've never
Not
heard
like-
of that.
not like book reviews, but any reviews of doing the tandem read itself. I haven't heard anything bad.
Okay.
So
Okay. I'm here for it.
that's
As
how.
long as I have a little extra time
Oh gosh, yes.
to finish.
Well, I figure
books.
Yeah.
by the time we're in those books, it's going to be about your wedding time. So
So it's not like I'll be busy or anything.
right.
Yeah.
We'll need extra time anyway. But yes, so we just finished book 3, Heir of Fire. We are going to go back in time now and read the prequel, The Assassin's Blade.
Cool.
Because apparently, with the way we're reading it, that is the best order to do this in. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Another training montage will be great.
Whatever, you guys.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to A Court of Books and Booze. This is our basement book club, and we are super excited to be here talking about this series. It's a lot of fun. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Hopefully, we're still not posting episodes yet, so. And you can find us on Facebook.com/A Court of BAB because you can't use booze in
In a Facebook URL.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
If you enjoyed what you heard here, please go check out the Golden Mojo Entertainment network of podcasts. That includes Murd Nerds, The Call Guys, The United States of Paranormal, Indiana Chiefs Fans, and Golden Image Podcast. They're all fun to listen to. I listen to just about every episode each week on my short drives to work.
So I'm still working through Call Guys Beer 30 because it's like super long.
It was good.
I'm trickling my way through.
So yeah, go check those guys out. You can find them anywhere you listen to podcasts. And then we'll have all their socials posted in our show notes and all of that fun stuff. So anything else you guys want to add before we close it out? No?
No, I love the series. I'm just really excited to keep it trucking.
Read with you later.
Bye.
Grab a beer. Grab a book.
Meet you in the basement.
Meet you in the basement. That's a little weird. But
That cannot be our slogan.
grab a beer, grab a book, be in the basement. I like it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it, but I
so
love
much.
See you guys next week.